Why do some countries have global giants like Apple while others focus on free healthcare and education? Who decides what gets made and for whom? That's the role of an economic system. It shapes our everyday lives. Let's understand. What is an economic system? An economic system is simply the way a country organizes its economy. It answers the three basic questions of economics: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. Different countries answer these questions in different ways depending on the type of system they follow. Let's start with capitalism, also known as a market economy. In this system, decisions are made by private individuals and businesses. The government has a limited role, and instead it's the forces of supply and demand that determine prices and guide production choices. Let's discuss few key features of capitalism. Private ownership. Individuals and companies own land, factories, and other resources, not the government. The second important feature is that businesses produce goods and services to earn profits, which drives innovation and efficiency. The third important feature is consumer freedom. Consumers decide what gets produced by choosing what to buy. If people want smartphones, companies make smartphones. And the last important feature is minimal government interference. The government's role is limited to enforcing laws, protecting property rights, and ensuring fair play, not running businesses. Some well-known examples of capitalist economies are the United States, Australia, and Singapore, where the market largely drives economic decisions. And here is a real-life example. Think of Apple. It chooses what kind of iPhones to design, how to make them, and where to sell them, all based on what people want and what will bring in profits. This is what a capitalist economic system is. Now let's talk about socialism, also called a planned economy. In this system, the government controls most economic decisions. It owns the resources and decides what should be produced, how much, and for whom, often aiming to reduce inequality rather than maximize profits. The few key features of socialism are related to ownership of resources. The state, not individuals, owns land, factories, and other assets. The second main feature is that a government authority creates a detailed economic plan and sets production targets, and the goal is always to achieve social welfare. The third important feature is that here the main aim of the socialist society is to reduce the gap between rich and poor by distributing resources more evenly. Historical examples include North Korea, the former Soviet Union, and Cuba. An example of this type of economy could be that imagine the government instructs a textile factory to produce 100,000 school uniforms this year. It doesn't matter whether that number matches actual demand. The decision comes from a central plan, not from the market. Now let's explore the third type of economic system, the mixed economy. Think of it as a blend of capitalism and socialism, bringing together the strengths of both. In a mixed economy, private businesses and the government work side by side. Private firms produce most goods and services, but the government steps in where needed, whether it's healthcare, education, or regulating big industries to protect the public interest. Let's look at some of the key features that define this system. First, there is a coexistence of public and private sectors. You might see a private school on one street and a government school on the next. Both operate in the same system, offering choices to the public. Second, the government acts as a regulator. It sets rules to ensure fair wages, product safety, and environmental standards, not to control businesses, but to keep the system fair and balanced. Third, a mixed economy focuses on balanced goals. It encourages market efficiency and innovation while also promoting social welfare, so no one is left behind. And finally, there is consumer freedom with a safety net. People can make their own choices, but if someone can't afford basic services, the government provides support like public hospitals or subsidized education. You will find mixed economies in countries like India, the United Kingdom, and France, where both market forces and public services shape the economy. And here is a real life example from India. If someone falls sick, they can choose to go to a private hospital for quicker service or a government hospital for more affordable treatment. Both options exist, which gives people freedom as well as support. So these were the three economic systems. Let's do a quick recap. In a capitalist economy, decisions are driven by the market. It's all about private ownership, profit, and consumer choice with minimal government role. In a socialist economy, the government takes charge. It owns the resources, plans production, and focuses on equality and public welfare and not profit. And in a mixed economy, you get a blend of both. Private businesses work in many areas, but the government steps in to provide essential services and ensure fairness. So, whether it's who owns the resources or who decides what to produce, it all depends on the economic system. One last thought before we wrap up. Economic systems aren't fixed forever. Countries often shift and adapt their systems based on their goals, challenges, or global trends. Take China, for example. It started as a strictly planned socialist economy, but over time it introduced market reforms. Now it has a system that blends government control with private enterprise. This transformation helped China grow into one of the world's largest economies. So remember, no system is set in stone. Reforms, innovation, and public needs can reshape how economies work. If you found this explanation helpful, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more clear and exam focused content. And if you ever feel stuck with a topic or want personalized help, check out my tutoring services. I would love to help you learn economics the easy way. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye for now.